what am I going to call today's video? Something cringy, I assume. Something triggering. Given the thought I had and the reason I'm making the video. I saw a video by a channel that I like a lot, Vagabond Awake. Fantastic YouTube channel. The guy he travels the world with his Malaysian girlfriend, and they make videos. He's making a living at it. Fantastic. Whew, look at all that. And he made a video saying how he's pretty much done with America. He doesn't think he's ever going back. And I very much agreed with it, and it kind of gave me the idea for this. Now, disclaimer: I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud of where I was born. There's a lot of benefits to being an American. The visa is very powerful. Being an American outside of America is quite luxurious. There's a lot of benefits to it. So how come I agreed? I thought, yeah, I'm not going back either. I'm going to touch on a couple of those things. One of the things he said in the video was that he said the second I land in America, the second the airplane lands, I start hemorrhaging money. And I'm like, yeah, that is totally true. Everything is so much more expensive there. And it's stuff that's out of your control. It's like the plane lands, it's like, how am I going to get to my destination? It's not going to be that easy to just jump on a bus. It doesn't really work that way. You're going to have to rent a car, a taxi. Oh my God, you take a taxi, it's going to be hundreds of dollars more than likely to get to, unless you live right by the airport. So that's not very likely. Yeah, the medical insurance is a nightmare. I mean, that is really, if something is wrong with you, if you need surgery, oh my God, it's like you could have been saving for 10, 20 years and it just vaporizes. Which obviously it's nothing like that anywhere outside the US. So yeah, I mean, expenses are a big reason that I don't imagine I'm going back. I can't afford to live in the US. It's just not an option. But so what are some of the other things? What are some of the smaller things that you don't think about until you actually see it with your own eyes? And a lot of it's like the temperament. The way people, well, like here in Bangkok, people just don't get angry like they do back in the US. You don't have that, despite the crazy traffic, you don't have a lot of road rage. I mean, you never see anyone jump out of their car and start flicking somebody off or swearing at anybody. It's just not a thing. In fact, I saw one thing that just really stuck in my mind. It was an oversized truck. It was trying to turn a corner, and the other cars were in the way. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna get ugly. All the horns are gonna start going off, and the swearing. There's nothing like that. The guys who were in the way, they just start waving to each other to back up a few feet. And they did. Like 4 or 5 cars just back up slowly. The truck driver's waving thank you at them. Slowly takes the corner. I'm like, look at this. They're civilized. No fists are flying. Not a single horn goes off. I'm like, my gosh. These people are just different. They're so tolerant. Another thing I was thinking about, just a very singular example. I'm walking, I got my umbrella, it's raining out, there's puddles all over the street. I'm like, oh man, any car is gonna come by and just nail one of these puddles and be like, ooh, 10 points, got him. Again, typical in the US, just people think that sort of thing is funny. And yet, it's never happened here. Like, they go to painful lengths to switch lanes, go through the puddles very slowly. It's like the idea of doing something like that as a prank or just to be malicious, whatever, it's unheard of. They just wouldn't do that. And it sounds small. It's a small thing, but it's just, it's a different society. And it's like, wow, these are just different people. And I can really appreciate it. And to kind of go the other way, I'll give you one or two ugly examples that I remember. I was in Tom and Tom's. It's a coffee shop here in Bangkok. And I saw this American woman, and she just goes ballistic on one of the waitresses. And I couldn't hear exactly what she was saying, but she kept shaking the table, which made me think, okay, the table is loose or something. It's wiggly, I guess. That was the assumption that I had. And it's just like your picture. The American woman is just yelling and shaking the table and complaining. And this poor Thai girl that doesn't know how to handle that kind of aggression. You know, she's got her head down, arms folded, just silent, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to handle it. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I'm not going back to. That angry over nothing, angry over the smallest things. I can't relate to that anymore. Everyone here is so relaxed. It's just not a thing. I'll tell you guys about another one. I had to go to immigration. So it's really early. It's like 4:30 in the morning. I'm trying to get to the BTS. And I see this a guy yelling with his girlfriend. They're arguing. And he wasn't American. I think he was British. But he was a Westerner. And, you know, they're yelling, whatever, going back and forth. And so the guy gets so angry, he wants to just take it out on the world. And he goes running into the street, yelling, just screaming at anybody who'll listen. And he jumps right in front of these two Thai ladies who have to slam on their brakes. I mean, they almost hit him. It was really close. They skidded right up to him. Screamed, of course. And he starts punching their hood, flicking them off. I mean, it's like they did nothing to you. And again, his behavior was once again something you would never see, never hear, ever. Like, who just goes crazy like that over nothing? But in Western society, it happens far more often than we care to admit. And I wouldn't forget that anytime soon. I remember watching that and I was like, my God, no wonder they get concerned about foreigners here. They don't know how to handle us sometimes, because we behave in a way that they cannot relate to. There's another YouTube channel that I like. It's Brett Dev. Again, I'm giving these guys shout outs and they don't even know I'm alive. And he did a video recently which made me think about this exact same topic. Now, he's from the UK. I can't really speak on the UK, but he was pointing out, you know, he's been here like 5 years, and he was like, you know, in the UK you have like, they charge you for everything, I guess. I have to be careful what I'm saying here because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm repeating him. Like, you have a bill for television, it's like a TV bill. I mean, it's just everything. And his point was like, yeah, Thailand's kind of shitty when it comes to visas. It's not friendly, it's not easy, but it's just, you have to do it depending on your visa once a year or once every 90 days. And yeah, you have to go to immigration, you have to deal with government officials, and it's not fun, it's not pleasant, but then it's done. And your daily life in Thailand, the government largely leaves you alone. You know, I don't pay for any trash pickup or anything like that. My rent is cheap, all the water and electric, I pay my landlady. I don't have separate bills. It's all condensed, it's very simple. And and then I have to go to immigration, and it's a crappy day, but then it's over with. You don't have to deal with it all the time. Yeah, there are some cultural differences that I thought were actually really interesting. It takes some getting used to. For instance, it's not strange at all to see a mother and daughter walking down the sidewalk, hand in hand. And I don't mean like a little girl. I don't mean like a 12-year-old or something. I mean like a young lady in her 20s, and she'll be walking hand in hand with her mother. And the first time I saw it, I'm like, whoa, look at that. I'm not sure if that's a healthy relationship. And then I see it again and again and again and again. I'm like, oh, that's just the way it is. They have this strong family bonds that, again, you would never see in the West. At least it would be very, very rare. And it's the same thing with like friends, particularly female friends. Female friends who walk arm in arm. And again, the first time I saw it, I'm like, I don't know what to make of that. And then you see it again and again and again, and you realize, oh, it's just the way it is. It's just that public affection that those of us in the West simply aren't used to. It's nice. It's a breath of fresh air. It's something we should get used to. You know, then you kind of get the freedom argument. Again, kind of touchy. Depends very much on the topic. A lot of things to consider there. So is the US more free than Thailand? In general, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. But there are just certain things certain ways that things are conducted in the US that would seem so restrictive here, it's almost hard to explain to someone from Thailand. Get around this guy. You know, for example, I can go up to a pharmacy here and be like, yeah, I need 2 boxes of amoxicillin, which is an antibiotic, or any antibiotic I want. And you could even go, this is not all the pharmacies, but you can go to quite a few and be like, yeah, I want a couple boxes of Viagra. You're like, sure, whatever, and they give it to you. And my point, like to try and explain to a Thai person that it's like, I know I have strep throat, I know this, I know I need antibiotics to clear it up, but you have to go to a doctor to tell you, to examine you, charge you hundreds of dollars to tell you what you already know, and then give you permission, written permission to go to a pharmacy, again, to get the medication you already knew you needed, and go through this whole, sometimes you don't feel like going to the doctor, you're very sick, you're like, I don't want to sit in the office, I know what I need, just give me what I need. And to explain that to a Thai person here, they're like, what? That's your freedom? It's like in jail. It's like you have to get written permission to do anything. So again, it depends on the topic, but that was one I thought was very interesting here. And they're like, you gotta do what? You have to go to a doctor, you have to, like, oh, come on. You're an adult. We treat you like an adult. You know what you need, go get it. And that's something that I would have, I've gotten so used to that way of living. It would be very, very hard for me to go back. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. This is gonna be fun to edit because I'm just doing it in chunks. I speak a little bit, turn the camera off, speak a little bit. So yeah, I'm happy with my life here, and not just Thailand. Like Malaysia's not that different, Vietnam is not that different. You know, it's just the benefits here can be found in most places in Asia. And I honestly, I mean, who knows what the future holds? Who knows if I have to go back for something? Who knows if my career crumbles and I have to go back and get a regular job? Who knows? But right now, my plan is absolutely to stay abroad, like permanently. I've never been this relaxed. I've never been this happy with my life, and I want to keep that going as long as I can. All right, guys, that's it. Peace out from Thailand.